Howdy, everybody. This is Jean-Marc talking about the successful 7 lead generation strategies from the B2B experts. All right, so a lot of times what gets passed off as B2B lead generation strategies are people's best guesses or hopes as to what might work, but that won't make your business any money. Here we'll be exploring expert backed lead generation strategies that are working for real business leaders. So, what is B2B lead generation? You might hear me mention it. Well, B2B lead generation is really all about getting businesses leads that do business with other businesses. That sounds like a lot, but think of a company like Commercial Construction Cleaners, or think of a company like, say, a QuickBooks that does business with other businesses, and you get the idea of what B2B is. B2B lead generation is just getting those folks sales leads so they can make those sales. And it really involves 3 main things. That's going to be finding the right people, connecting with the right people, and pitching the right people. Now, when it comes to finding the right people, you want to make sure that obviously this person has decision making power. You'll be looking for a person inside of a specific organization, and you want to make sure they're not the intern, right? There's someone that can actually make a decision as to spend money on your product or service. Next, you want to make sure they have the right title. If this is a person in the art department that you need to talk to about buying some software, and you instead connect with someone from accounting, you're probably in the wrong space. So make sure you're finding that right person. Next, connecting with them. And there are a multitude of ways you can do that we'll explore later, but they're going to include things like using your website in content marketing. And next, when it comes to pitching the right people, the best way that we find sales leads in the marketing world is going to be through lead magnets. So that's offering a free guide, free list, free email course. You get the idea, but it's still going to be the top way to get sales leads because you put folks into your funnel, you put folks into your email list, and you're able to stay in touch with them eventually to make that sale. Now, the best ways of doing B2B lead generation we're going to be talking about quickly here are webinar lead generation, LinkedIn lead generation ads, podcasting, content marketing and automation, SEO and advertising, and generating website leads. Now, why do these matter? Are these just things I'm taking off the top of my head? Well, actually, these aren't. These are actual strategies and tools that real businesses have used to get real results, because there are loads of things you can do to get website leads, people will tell you, but few of them will work. So these are things that I've seen actually drive results for businesses. So that's what we'll talk about. And in many cases, we've actually sought expert insights to learn more, and those are going to be available to you on the blog post. So you can go ahead and watch experts explaining for themselves better than me as to how these work. First up, webinar lead generation. We talked to the expert Chris Rolfe, international SEO expert, on how he does webinars where he's talking to hundreds of people and getting sales leads from that. And I believe he just started a business, had something like 60,000 MRR, that's monthly recurring revenue, with a business that didn't even have a website. That's how good he is. So he was sharing his best tips on how to do webinars. And I have a few tips of my own, first off, that I'll share with you that I've learned from doing webinars that I think Chris will back me up on. First is, don't go crazy on webinar software spending. It's easy to get caught up in the new shiny tools. I do it sometimes. I'm a marketer. I like tools. Doesn't really make sense when you're starting out with webinars. Oftentimes you can get by with using free tools. Chris actually recommends a tool called freeconferencecall.com that you can use to do your webinars for free. Next, focus on delivering value. I know that a lot of us, we do webinars to get sales leads or to make sales, and that was me in the beginning. I was looking to make the dang sale. I just wanted to reach out and grab folks and say, give me your money. But at the end, I realized the best thing to do is give value, because people can sense when all you want is what's in their pockets. So I'd recommend doing that and not be like me and have people walk out of your webinar thinking that you're just unhelpful, unfriendly person. Focus on delivering that value first. Next, be yourself on webinars. Don't try to be this cool professional person. Don't try to be this person that says all the right things all the right times. People connect with people. They want to like and trust them. There's that phrase again I talk about a lot, is we like to do business with folks we like and trust. So be yourself. Don't just be a carbon copy of whatever you think uh, you should be in your profession. It's easier to connect with, and people will tend to listen to you more and not zone out as much when you're yourself. Some other tips: webinars are great tools for positioning, but don't expect them to make an immediate sell for you. What you instead want to do is use them to get people onto your list for further conversation and communication. And you'll need to promote your webinar. It just doesn't happen. You just don't press the play button or broadcast button and everyone shows up and it's a great time. No, you have to promote it. Expect to write a few blog posts, expect to do a few press releases, expect to do a few social media posts in order to get people to the actual webinar. Next up, we're talking about LinkedIn lead generation ads. I like this tool from LinkedIn just because it's going to cut out a lot of the busy work that we have to do with lead generation. A lot of times we're depending on things like forms, and forms, as you might know, are regularly abandoned. I think something like over 60% of forms are abandoned on web pages because none of us have time to do anything anymore, right? We really have time to breathe. I mean, if our bodies just did do it naturally, we probably just wouldn't find the time for it. So LinkedIn lead generation ads are going to be typically an offer a free lead magnet, like, hey, this is a free guide on growing your business by 10x in the next 2 months using LinkedIn, right? If it was a free guide and it was a LinkedIn lead generation ad, you would click on it and LinkedIn would automatically use your profile information in order to fill in all that stuff. So that allows you to get leads at a faster click. Next, we'll talk about podcasting. Now, podcasting is actually going to be a pretty natural way for you to share about your business story, how you can get in front of investors and things like that. And in my expert interview with Mr. Ryan Estes, the founder of Kitcaster, a podcast booking agency that helps entrepreneurs build authentic connections, we talk just about how effective podcasts can be for creating new sales leads, and it's going to happen inadvertently. So it's not like you're going to say, hey, call this number now and press this button and or click this here. Instead, expect for people to hear about you, that to percolate a bit, and then start getting in contact with you or getting on your list sometime later. Don't expect to turn just a regular podcast into a sales lead gen opportunity, but expect it to pay you dividends in the future. Content marketing and automation. So here I talked with Mr. DJ Francis, the CEO at Hub and Spoke Marketing out here in Colorado. And he's also a marketing automation expert. So we talked about what marketing automation is about. Really, it's about getting communication out to your best sales leads in a systemized way. So you have a specific frequency you've set and you have a certain way that people like to interact with your company. You just make that easier by offering up a webinar invite at the right time or offering up a free guide at the right time. And this allows you to keep in touch with folks so you're able to nurture them through this process and not just expect them to get in touch with you, which many times they won't. This way you can keep staying in front of people. And Mr. DJ Francis would know because he was responsible for a great growth at Airbnb for Work, which is Airbnb's business side. He was responsible for helping them multiply that by, I think it was threefold. So if you want more of those content marketing and automation tips, I recommend you go ahead and check out that interview on the site. Another interview I did was for SEO and advertising with Mr. Tyler Horsley. He is the founder and CEO and angel investor at Nuclear Networking, which is a marketing agency that's grown over the $1 million mark. Kudos to him and his team. And he talks about how SEO is a great investment for your company, and the ROI on investing in organic search is going to be very high, because when people are searching for your specific tool, you want to show up. It's very important that you show up. And he talks about exactly just how important that is and mentions a few tips here. Obviously, if you want more, you can go check out the post. But one thing is that you want to make sure you keep business efficiency as a key metric in doing all this, and that Google Ads and other PPC or pay-per-click advertising is helpful for people who would like to be searched for a specific type of service. So if you know that your search term, how people find your company, is marketing agency in Denver, then obviously make sure you rank for that, but also make sure you have ads for that as well, because it's going to show up at the top of the Google search as well. Generating website leads. This is one of my favorite things to talk about, because I get to talk about chatbots. And with chatbots, it's a way for you to get sales leads 24/7. I've gotten sales meetings. They've happened. They were collected for me at 12 a.m. on a Saturday morning. You can imagine why I wasn't there to answer customer questions, but the chatbot was there and was able to set that sales meeting up for me. So I recommend those. Tools like Intercom and Drift will allow you to do that and get website leads. There's also website visitor trackers, things like Lead Feeder. It's a tool that allows you to know which company went to your site. So you can see, oh, Apple went to my site at 10 a.m. today, or I'm not sure, the Banana Republic was there at 7 p.m. And you can actually use their tool and their dashboard that allows you to take that company, and it will do a search on your LinkedIn profile and compare it to people in your network, which is pretty cool, and allows you to see who most likely was checking out your site at that time. This allows you to drop a message in LinkedIn and say, hey, it looks like you were dropping on my site. I enjoyed our conversation the other day. What's up? Why don't we talk more about what your problems are? So lastly, let's talk about making lead generation profitable. There are a few ways to do that. I'm going to recommend first that you keep your lead gen cost low as possible. I know you're thinking, obviously save costs at this time. I totally get it, but there are a lot of shiny objects out there that you can get lost into. See if you can do it with something cheap first. Instead of getting that fancy system, why don't you see if you could just put out a PDF guide, and if people will respond to that. Next, make sure you can offset the cost of B2B lead generation when you can. That means if you're using a tool regularly, see if you can get on their affiliate program or get some money back for referrals that you offer them. It's as simple as just using a tool often and reaching out to the company and seeing if you can strike that deal. And lastly, remember to leverage your current relationships. I know in digital world, we're all about getting clicks and leads and making sure this thing goes up in Google Analytics and this thing goes down. In the end, business is about people. Continue to nurture those relationships you have and leverage those for an insane ROI. I actually have a link at the bottom that talks some more about that. So feel free to check that out when you have the time. But this has been Jean-Marc talking about 7 successful lead generation strategies from B2B experts. And if you have any questions on any of these, feel free to reach out to me via email at jeanmarc@saint313.com. I will talk to you later. Take it easy. Peace.